Hello, this is Music Tech Help Guy, and in this video I'm going to be doing a mic shootout for spoken word and voiceover work. I have 7 different microphones we're going to try, and we're going to compare and contrast their tonal qualities. I'm going to say a little bit about each mic as I speak into it, and then I'll go back and listen to the recordings, and in the end, I'll give you my opinion on which ones I like the best and why. Also, 6 of the 7 mics I've chosen for this shootout are all mics that I have used commonly for voiceover material in the past. The 7 mics we're going to hear are a Shure SM57. This is really just for reference. I wouldn't actually use this for a studio quality voiceover. So we're going to see this as sort of like a control in this experiment. The second mic is a Shure SM7B. The third is an Electro Voice RE20. Then we have an AKG C414B ULS, an AKG C414 XL2, a Rode NT2000, and the 7th and final mic is a Neumann TLM 103. As I do the test for each mic, I'll tell you a little bit more information about each one. Since this is a mic shootout, let me just set some ground rules. Number 1, I'm not allowing any shotgun, ultracardioid, or hypercardioid mics that are meant to be mounted on a boom, because those mics are specifically meant for picking up dialogue live on set, not for studio voiceovers. Number 2, I'm not using any USB tabletop mics either. Again, like with the boom mounting mics, those mics are meant to be picked up from a little bit of a distance, not directly spoken into. Number 3, I'm not using any tube condenser mics. While I love tube condenser mics for singing vocals, I'm not a big fan of them for spoken word. Number 4, I will be speaking in a medium volume voice about 4 inches away from each mic, directly into the capsule, and I'll be using a pop filter. Sometimes with singers, I like to angle the mic a bit to avoid plosives and low-end buildup. I'm not going to be doing that here. Number 5, I'm using a very clean, transparent digital preamp for this. All of the mics are going straight into the main digital preamp of my Focusrite Sapphire 56. Number 6, the preamp level on each mic will change a bit so that each mic is hitting roughly -10 dB FS when I check it. Number 7, I will not make any individual adjustments to the mic levels after recording, but I will normalize them all to -0.3 dB as a group so the volume is more consistent with the level of my voiceover now. Number 8, no effects will be used to enhance the signal. The signal you are hearing right now is heavily enhanced quite a bit with a lot of EQ and compression. So let's go ahead and turn that off now. There we go. So it's a little bit more bland now. Number 9, all mics that have switchable polar patterns will be switched to cardioid mode. So this means that all of the mics will be tested in cardioid. If any of the mics have a filter or a pad switch, I'll turn that off as well. Number 10, we are not testing these in a properly treated studio, but rather in my home office. I have access to several treated studios, but that doesn't really give us a proper practical test of each mic. Things like computer fans, traffic outside, the HVAC system, that'll all come into play in any practical application. So I'm testing this out in my office at home on purpose to give you a more practical test rather than an isolated studio test. Our first mic is the Shure SM57. It's pretty much a workhorse in the audio industry, good on snare drum, guitar cabs, and other loud sources in the studio. It's used commonly in live sound in many applications. The SM57 is a dynamic cardioid mic with a bit of a high-end roll-off at around 15 kHz. It retails for $99 US. Our second mic is the Shure SM7B. They're a standard in the industry used for voice for radio and podcasting. However, they're commonly used for heavier vocals like rock, heavy metal, and rap vocals. It has a full frequency range up to 20 kHz. The SM7B is a dynamic cardioid mic and comes with its own built-in windscreen. It retails for $349 US. Our third mic is the Electro Voice RE20. It's another standard in use for voice for radio and podcasting. But I've seen them used on vocals, guitar amps, and even kick drum in live purposes. The RE20 is a dynamic cardioid mic with slots behind the capsule which help prevent low-frequency buildup due to the proximity effect. It has a high-frequency roll-off at about 18 kHz, and it retails for about $449 US. The fourth mic is an AKG C414 BULS. It's a cheaper model 414, but still in the 414 series. It's a great large diaphragm condenser reference mic and sounds good on almost anything you put it on. I personally have used this mic for voiceovers for about 90% of my YouTube videos. It has 4 switchable polar patterns, as well as a filter and a pad switch. The C414 BULS is actually discontinued, but it was about $600 to $800 US new. The 5th mic is an AKG C414 XL2. It's a large diaphragm condenser mic, and like the C414 BULS, it sounds good on pretty much anything you put it on. It's very clean and detailed without much coloration at all. Also, like the BULS, it has a high frequency range of 20 kHz. It has 5 switchable polar patterns, a filter, and a pad. It retails for about $1,100 US. The 6th mic is the Rode NT2000. It's a large diaphragm condenser mic with a frequency range up to 20 kHz. It has a variable polar pattern from omni to cardioid and cardioid to bidirectional. It also has a filter and a pad. This is one of my favorite mics for under $1,000. They retail for only $599 US, and you get an incredibly versatile mic for the price. I like them on vocals, drum overheads, room mics, and acoustic guitar. The 7th and final mic is the Neumann TLM-103. I included this mic because it's a little bit different than the other 3 condensers we looked at in that it's a transformerless circuit. So there's no transformer. This means that the tone will not be colored by the transformer as much as the other 3 condensers we've heard. However, it won't really have the vibe of a condenser mic that has a transformer or a tube in it. It should be the cleanest and most detailed of the 3 condensers so far, though. Like all of the other condensers we've looked at, it has a 20 Hz to 20 kHz frequency range, but does not have a switchable polar pattern, pad, or filter. It retails for about $1,100 US. Okay, so now is the moment of truth. Well, sort of. I had to pick 3 different winners based on 3 separate scenarios that I've run into in the past. The first scenario is doing voiceovers for a YouTube video not live. So this means that I'm not doing the voiceover while I make the actual video. This makes it easier for me to get closer to the mic because I don't have to concentrate so much on the screen. The winner for this scenario was the RE20. It has so much of a better low end than the other dynamic mics. The SM7B and the SM57 were kind of thin in the low end. And also the slotted design really helps to keep the background noise out. In fact, this is the mic that I've been using for the last 2 weeks on YouTube, and I plan to stick with it. The second scenario is if I'm doing a YouTube video with the dialogue live. So for this scenario, I chose the AKG 414 BULS. It's a bit warmer than the XLS model, and I really like the tone that I get from it. As with all condenser mics, it's more prone to plosives, even with a pop filter. But when I do live dialogue in my videos, I typically put the mic a bit further away so plosives don't really end up being much of an issue. And the third scenario is if I were doing dialogue in the studio for, say, a TV show, movie, or an animated film. The winning mic here was the TLM-103. This mic is the most detailed, has a decent low end, and doesn't really color the tone at all. It has a lower floor noise than the other condensers as well, which really helps with processing later. So if you're interested, I'm actually using the TLM-103 right now, and at the beginning of this video when I did the intro dialogue, I was actually using the RE20. So that's my mic shootout for dialogue and speaking voice. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up and let me know in the comments which mic you like the most. If you'd like to help kickstart our live video tutorial series, please go to patreon.com/musictechhelpguy and make a monthly contribution. Thanks for the support and thanks for watching.